Welcome back to another video, Unicorns. I'm Matthew Smith, and behind the camera is...
Rufus. Tangin.
We'll get there one day. You'll catch on, Rufus. You'll catch on. Today, I'm going to react to Uber's first pitch deck from 2008. I've got it here. Let's do it. All right. So first slide, Uber Cab, next generation car services. I love this. Like I've said this in so many videos, being immediately understandable. And so you get the people's attention and they know exactly what you're doing as quick as possible. 25 slides, maybe on the larger end. Try to keep a slide presentation between 12 and 18 slides is the golden number, really. 15, 16, all acceptable. When you start getting over 20, people like me, when I was a VC as an analyst, have to look through many slide presentations. And the ones that are longer, we're like, oh, for God's sakes, we just want to skim through them and pick 7 things. Do you know what we pick out of a presentation, Rufus?
No.
We pick the traction, the team, the timing, which is like the market opportunity, pick the business model, we pick the solution, like what is the solution they're doing and the problem that they're solving and things like that. We're looking for these 7 golden areas, right?
How fast can you tell that a pitch is good?
Some of the best companies in the world have terrible pitches, right? So you actually kind of need to have a good understanding of what you're looking for so that even if it's a terrible pitch presentation, like I've honestly seen some of the worst pitch decks you can imagine from the best companies, right? And just because you have a terrible pitch is no representation of your ability to run a company. So, you know, there's so much energy and weight put on the pitch presentations in the startup industry. In reality, if you're just a good entrepreneur doing something interesting, good investors will find that. So you should never judge a book by its cover. You should never judge a startup by its pitch. However, it is so easy to do a really good pitch these days with all the resources you have available. So there's really no excuse to have a bad pitch presentation because the threshold is so low to have a very decent looking, 80% perfect presentation. And ultimately, it's all about the content and the information and the storytelling. So to be honest, like, yes, having a beautiful pitch is great. It's going to just look professional and people will like it. And more startups are doing a better job than they ever have. But the content, you can't also polish a turd. If you have a terrible idea and a terrible startup, you can't disguise that by having a beautiful presentation. Any investor worth their soul will figure that out, right? And that was my job when I was an analyst as a VC, was to go, hey, regardless of how terrible or great the pitch was, hopefully it was good because it looks pretty to look at. You're doing me a favor, something pretty to look at and to consume, right? But I was looking into the numbers. All right, it's all well and good what it looks like, but what are they trying to say? What are they trying to tell me? Anyway, let's get back to Uber, Rufus. The second slide in this presentation is going straight to the problem, right? Remember this, if you sell the problem, the solution sells itself, right? They've gone straight into the problem with cabs in 2008, oh God, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? The Uber cab concept. I like this. They come very quickly to the solution because often startups that are doing something that's frontier technology or something that's very advanced in a new sphere, no one understands this because you're also introducing something to the market for the first time. You need to educate the audience as quick as possible. So to not lose them because they don't understand this, because they've never seen it before, you need to get to the solution. So getting to your product, having pictures of how it works as quick as possible is a great idea. Let's move on. One-click car service, I love it. I've used this a lot in my presentations of having like a title for the slide. And that sort of summarizes the content that's in the slide. So one-click car service. I don't really need to read more. Now I know your main bold kind of feature that you're trying to do for the product. And then obviously you can tell me more about how it works. Next one, key differences. Okay, interesting. They've gone straight to how they differentiate their product to other products or the existing problem they're trying to solve, right? So this is an interesting way to sort of like engineer a slide around the key differences could also be how you're better, right? I've also seen this with competitor slides, right? So they're doing a little bit of this right now, and they're trying to say we're competing against the industry and the status quo, and I don't look at it as a competition slide. I look at it as a market opportunity slide because, just because someone's done something doesn't mean they've done it right and right for now. Remember that, founders. If you ever want to do something, you're like, oh, it exists already. What can you do better? Because are you a vitamin or are you a painkiller, right? If you're a vitamin, that's something that's nice to have, but not a must-have. A painkiller is something you have to have because it kills pain, right? People in pain want to kill that pain. So if it's a painkiller, people are going to use it, right? You're solving a real issue. If it's just a vitamin, it's nice to have, but you don't have to have it. Then you know that this product is maybe not going to be as hit, or this feature is not going to be as much of a hit as possible. All right, let's go back to the slides. Operating principles. They go straight into the operations. This is an interesting one as well. Not many startups do this actually. How you're going to run the business and how it's going to be set up. Interesting. Uber cab apps. Oh my God, Blackberries. Remember those, Rufus? Did you ever have one?
No.
I had a Blackberry. I think I had that one in the middle there. I forget what was it called, but whatever happened to Blackberry? If you know what happened to Blackberry, let us know in the comments. We would love to know. Kind of see them in rap videos sometimes. Remember that? When like the rappers would be like, typing on their like wide keyboard. Jesus, remember those days. I mean, this presentation is obviously quite comprehensive. It's answering all the questions that I would ask as an investor. because I want to know what the technology stack is. If you know what technology stack is, let us know in the comments, and let me know if you want me to make a video about technology stacks, because that's an interesting one. What is a technology stack, Rufus?
I have no idea.
Stack of pancakes. It's all the different technologies that exist to build your product.
Oh.
Anyway, overall market size, talking about the annual, what it's going to be worth annually, super smart. You've shown me that this market is big, because what do investors invest in? Investors invest in teams that execute over time in markets that are growing, right? They invest in hot markets, hot teams and hot markets. They're showing that it's a hot market. I love it. Composition of the market, yeah, interesting. I guess they're trying to show where the opportunity is there. Target cities, they've got a list of where they're going to go. This is something maybe you would send to an investor second time round after you've had a first meeting where you've just given them the lay of the land and they've got their interest. Remember this, when you're pitching, the first time specifically, you don't want to give away everything. You want to basically excite the investors enough to want to ask you more questions. So that's why the first pitch deck shouldn't be like, everything we're doing and that's amazing, because they're like, wow, that all sounded so great, and maybe you risk losing them because it's too much information. If you give them the most exciting things, the traction, the team, the growing market, then you excite them to come to you, and then you come to them with a slide deck like this, 25 slides talking about, in this instance with the target cities, their go-to-market strategy. Which cities are they going to and why? I like it, smart. It's what I would ask as a VC on my follow-up. I think every founder should make a thing called a mother deck. So you have this mother deck, and my mother deck's anything from 50 to 200 slides. 80% of it will be updated, and then you'll only change 20% of it, or add in an extra slide occasionally, or take one away. So I put that 80% in the mother deck, and then for example, in this one right now about like the go-to-market strategy, you can make a 4, 5, 10-page presentation about go-to-market. You can do one about your KPIs and unit economics. They all go in the mother deck, so that when someone asks me in a follow-up about the finances or the unit economics, I have 3 perfect slides I've made beforehand in the mother deck, and I can just take them out and send them to people. It's a brilliant way. I'll make a video about that. I think it's a really valuable one. I tell founders about that all the time, and they're like, oh, that makes sense, and it really does actually. Anyway, potential outcomes. Oh, this is interesting. They've done like scenarios about where this is going to go. Becomes market leader in $1 billion in year revenue. Well, they definitely proved that right. And what are they worth now, Uber? Anyway, worst case scenario, remains a 10-car, 100 client service in San Francisco. This is interesting. They've literally gone like, look, base case scenario, best case scenario. I haven't seen that very often apart from in financial models. If you're building a financial model as a founder, think about your base case, your management case, and your best case. When I was investing as a VC, as a growth stage VC, we're investing tens of millions of dollars into companies. The financial teams obviously were quite established in. Some of them were actual proper CFOs and all this kind of stuff. They would actually make business cases for us, and it was my job as the analyst to review those and stress test them to see that, okay, well, what if their customer acquisition cost doubles? What if their retention rate drops? What if their churn rate increases, the lifetime of the value? I would play with all these metrics and financial models to see what the base case would be, so I could understand what is the return on our investment for the fund, right? So they've kind of done the work for me, which is kind of nice. I appreciate that. Smartphones, they're talking about the future of the products. Don't forget that often startups pitch their ideas and as if like their ideas are just going to exist in a perfect world. Talk about the world you exist in. Rufus, you know what one of my investors said to me before he invested?
No, what?
He said, Matt, before I invest, let me ask you one question. You know what that question was?
Hit me.
He said it was in 2018, and he said apparently in 2019 there's going to be a market crash. What are you going to do if there's a market crash? And I basically had an answer. I said, look, I don't think we're going to be affected for these reasons. And he was like, all right, fine, here's 100K. Remember to open strong and close strong, always. I'm Matt C. Smith, that's Rufus Tangen. Thank you for watching LUNICORN on YouTube.